Jen Psaki served as President Biden's first White House press secretary. She's now an MSNBC host. Jen, good to have you. Thanks for joining us. Here. So if you're in the White House and you're watching those numbers right now, what does it tell you and what do you do?
Well, whenever you're in the White House and your party's in power, you're always bracing for impact, Lester, because every time a president is in power and there's a midterm election, almost every time that their party loses seats. And if you look back at Barack Obama's first midterm election, he lost 63 seats. He even called it a shellacking. And if you look back at Bill Clinton, he lost 54 seats. So they're aware of that historic precedent. But I will tell you that, and I've been in touch with them, what they're watching right now is the fact that there are races that are turning to be Democratic, that where Democrats are winning, that are good signs for them. And it's early. So they're also going to be watching as races start to come in the West Coast as well.
Well, if they're watching the exit polls, Jen, your old boss, President Biden, cannot be happy about one of the results. 2/3 of voters in our exit polls said they do not want President Biden to run for re-election.
That's true, Savannah. I did see that in the exit polls. And look, I think the president has to make a decision early, I think, over the next couple of months to decide if he's going to run for re-election. Now, I will tell you from having worked for Barack Obama when he was president and he got beaten by a lot in the midterm elections, there were a lot of people calling for him not to run either. So President Biden has to make a decision. He has to decide if he's going to battle through this another time. But I would expect he'll do that with his family and not probably based on exit polls at this point.
Will an announcement by Donald Trump force the president's hand? Make the call sooner rather than later?
You know, Lester, I think it will definitely be a factor because Donald Trump getting in the race will mean that the president will feel like he's the only one who's beaten him before, which is true. And he's probably going to want to take him on again. He's been clear that he wants to run again. He's got to make that decision with his family. And I expect he's going to do that sooner rather than later because he knows time is of the essence. And if he doesn't, other Democrats are, of course, going to get in the race.
I was going to ask you that, Jen, what the timeline is. I mean, obviously, it's a personal decision, a weighty decision. The president is looking at it. But he also, if he is not going to run, wants to leave a lot of running room for other Democratic candidates who might want to get in. What's the general timeline?
You know, I think, Savannah, he knows that the stakes are very high, especially if former President Trump gets in the race. And I think he's going to have some time with his family over the holidays. He'll have those deep discussions. This is a little bit different from past midterms, though, because Democratic candidates were not running against his record. They were running against Barack Obama's record. They're running on his record in many cases. But he does have to make the decision about whether he's going to go through another election cycle at a time when Republicans have been clear that if they take power in the House, they're going to focus on investigations and impeachment. So it's a very personal decision. But I know he knows he needs to make it sooner rather than later. And we'll see. It's a personal one for him.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.